Alright guys, so with the release of White Lily Cookie Awaken, I know a lot of you guys are waiting for a comp, and here is a new quote-unquote standard comp that the top arena people are using. So let's go into it and let me talk about it. And as you guys can see, something surprising has changed. So for a new standard comp, there's two cookies that has kind of been removed, not completely. There are different comps that they still use them, but it is going to be that return of our Marshmallow Bunny has returned, as well as Shadow Milk is still here, and Eternal Sugar and Doa L has been kind of replaced. Of course, there are still comps like this one right here where we have Eternal Sugar. There are also comps that still use Eternal Sugar, Doa L, or even just like no Shadow Milk, and sometimes even use Shadow Milk and Eternal Sugar with no Silent Salt. But this is going to be a new quote-unquote standard that a lot of people are using, and it is also the comp that has allowed me to climb from Elite 3 all the way up to Grandmaster 3 as of right now for the third day of the update. So let's go over the toppings, and then I do want to let you guys know that the topping settings might change as time goes by, but as of right now, this is what I have used and what has worked for me with my current Ascension and Awakening, so keep that in mind as well. Depending on what your stats are, your numbers are, it might change. So first of all, it's going to be our Silent Salt. Silent Salt is using full damage resist bypass biscuit, and then we are also using a full swift chocolate. So we're focusing on that maximum cooldown. I would say more than 30% is pretty good, but you know, the closer you get to that, around that 35% is pretty good in order to spam the skill. And then of course we still do have some damage resist. If you guys are able to get some extra attack and crit, it definitely does help out in the increasing of damage, but we are going to be having Silent Salt with full cooldown. And the next one is gonna be our Hollyberry. Hollyberry is very similar to our last build as well. We are focusing on full HP healthy peanut, and then for our biscuit, as of right now, for me, I am using 2 HP and 2 damage resist. I have seen people with full HP. I've seen people with some extra cooldowns as well, but for me, I'm sticking around with that 8% and then some damage resist so that Hollyberry is able to tank. Next one is going to be our Shadow Milk. Shadow Milk is using a full damage resist bypass just like always, and then we are also focusing on that around 35% cooldown. If you can get to it, very good. And then we do have some damage resist. Shadow Milk still is naturally pretty tanky, has the revive as well, and then of course getting that extra attack and crit is going to be also good if you guys can get it. Alright, next one is going to be our White Lily Awaken. So this is where a little bit of a setting difference is gonna happen depending on your ascension and promotion. So depending on how high of a promotion your Silent Salt is going to be, your settings might be a little different. Some people use full cooldown in order to go and get 35% cooldown. However, for me, I have a White Lily. It's 3-star ascension and 2-star awakening. It's not actually high enough to go and get a higher HP than Silent Salt, who also gets a 35% extra max HP once he enters battle. So I actually went with full HP toppings and went with extra cooldown around 8% and then a full damage resist bypass in order for me to get the tube onto White Lily. And then additional to that, Hollyberry is going to take the other tube as well. Alright, so that's what I went with. Of course, if you guys are able to get White Lily a little higher HP than Silent Salt because your Silent Salt is lower in promotion, or you just have a better setting, then you guys are able to use something like the full cooldown as well. But for me, HP is what I went with. Next one is going to be our Bunny. Bunny has a little bit of a mixture build here too, but we are focusing around that 35% cooldown. Your amplify buff maximum is 35%, but if you do have all of the legendary costumes and stuff like that, you can go all the way down to about 17% amplify buff in order to get that 25% for 3 eggs. So depending on what your account is, settings might be a little different, but we do have a full cooldown. Sometimes you might need another extra amplify buff, or you just change some of the toppings, so just keep that in mind. But our Marshmallow Bunny is going to be a safeguard, so no damage resist needed. Alright, so just like I talked about, the tube is going to be going on to our White Lily as well as Hollyberry. And then we do have the monocle. Some people do use the whistle, but it does seem like for me, survivability is a little bit more important, so I went with the monocle here. And then we also do have Hollyberry's effect. So if you guys just quickly go into the kind of like, the arena, then you're going to be able to see that there's going to be a lot of different builds. But right now, you're going to be able to see this is kind of like the quote-unquote standard that you're going to be seeing a lot. Let's go into some battle here, guys, and let me show you guys this team in action. I'm going to try to find a pretty decent one here. We have a Grandmaster 2. This one is going to be using a charm build, alright, and they do have a pretty high ascension White Lily and Hollyberry. So let's go and see how this one turns out. Alright, so this one actually is going to be a Eternal Sugar one. Alright, so you're going to be able to see that the damage output of their cookies to that Shadow Milk was actually pretty darn strong in the beginning, especially with that Eternal Sugar buff. Alright, but we do have Shadow Milk with that revive, which is absolutely amazing. And then of course we have also the monocle to have a little bit of more sustainability compared to their paper charm as well. So their paper charm does allow the early quick damage output, but for us we have the revive and allows monocle to kind of keep our cookies alive. So this is going to be also a pretty strong team with survivability and damage, especially after that 1 minute mark. So you guys are able to see Silent Salt doing that 31 million damage, as well as White Lily doing 27 million. They do have that White Lily doing 38 million, especially with the advantage of the whistle as well as the charm, allowing the enemy team to do a lot more damage in the beginning. And their Eternal Sugar is going to be on that 5-star promotion as well. However, we were able to survive that 1 minute mark, even have Shadow Milk come back alive, and then have that monocle continue to go and give us that extra survivability, so allowing our team to win at the end. Alright guys, so this is another team that sometimes you will see. We do have a quote-unquote kind of a one-shot-ish build, but I do have that monocle. They have the Fire Spirit, and we have the Shadow Milk as well. So let's go and see how this one turns out as well. Alright, so this one is a little surprising. They actually do have just the Hollyberry for some extra tanking, as well as no White Lily. They just straight up went with Eternal Sugar and Shadow Milk. Alright, so it is that kind of older, Fire Spirit triple DPS comp that we have seen before. But yeah, we have the Silent Salt to do extra damage as well, and then we still have that Shadow Milk. But the thing is, right, for them, they have that Fire Spirit. Okay, so that Fire Spirit summoning Hydras can be a little bit annoying. White Lily's restoration buff just popped right there, or the remembrance buff just popped right there, allowing her to revive. We still have the monocle, but there you guys go. It's not too much of a hard thing right here, because obviously we have White Lily as right now, and also the monocle helps out against that burn and everything. So there you guys go. But it's surprising that we are seeing certain comps like this still in the top arena. So you guys are able to see that they do have the Fire Spirit, Shadow Milk doing so much damage, Eternal Sugar doing so much damage, but we have our Silent Salt as well as White Lily also doing a lot of damage. That tube definitely helping out in extra HP and the survivability, and then allowing our Marshmallow Bunny also to do a ton of healing for our team as well. Alright guys, and with that we are going to be going up to Grandmaster 2 as well. Alright, because we do have our place in the top 200. Okay, and also you're going to be able to see something like this. This is going to be another type of a one-shot comp like this one right here that I have used, except for the fact that they actually go with Hollyberry instead. Alright, so let's kind of go into this one. I want to see how this one goes as well. Alright, so again, we have the Silent Salt, alright, and the Hollyberry, while we don't have the Eternal Sugar, while they have no Silent Salt though. Alright, and they went with the Hollyberry instead for the extra survivability. So we'll see how this one goes. Our Shadow Milk very close to that death, but Marshmallow Bunny coming in clutch with some heal right there. Monocle is coming up as well, so it should be able to spell or cleanse for us a little bit and add some extra buff. But the Hydra is coming up. Shadow Milk dies, but not a problem. We still have 3 cookies alive. Alright, so there you guys go. Alright, so a little bit different than what I have seen before. Again, I have seen more of Silent Salt instead of the Hollyberry. But they did choose Hollyberry and their max promotion Eternal Sugar, almost max Awakening White Lily, and max Ascension Fire Spirit. Still couldn't win us. We still out damaged them, out survivability them, and then allowing that monocle to really come and help for that extra burn and the cleanse and the debuff resist as well. Alright guys, and with that we are going to be concluding this video. This is one of the new comps, and I want to say it's one of the standard comps now because of the fact that this is probably the most used comp that I've seen while climbing as well. Of course there's different builds, like again you guys can go with something like the Charm. I have seen the Whistle, I have seen Scroll, I have seen a lot of different builds or treasures being used, but this is the one that worked for me. Again, depending on your your ascension, your promotion and things like that, you might use different toppings on White Lily, but for me I'm using that HP, increasing that survivability, allowing White Lily to use her skill, use those restorations, use those skills at that 1 minute mark as well, and allowing her to do a lot of damage as well. So hopefully you guys found the video helpful. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys have any questions. I will be making more videos like this one right here. This is another like one-shot comp that has been shared to me as well. I have seen it being used. I have seen like no Shadow Milk, Eternal Sugar build. I've seen builds where you use like Doael instead of Bunny. You know, there's a lot of different builds, so I will go over those one by one. But thanks for watching guys, and yeah, let me know down in the comments below and how you guys feel about Shadow Milk still being inside of the arena meta. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.